and welcome in again to Your Health. And folks, there's nothing more important than your health. Normally when we think about health and we think about it from the neck down, but you know, that's not the case. It's from the neck up that we're hearing so much about, we need to learn about, and everything that we can get educated on is important. We're talking about mental health. And we are so blessed today. We have the Dean of the UAB Medical School Montgomery Regional Campus right here in Montgomery, Alabama. And we have Dean Lou Lambiase. And he has come up with something that I think everything you do tries to educate people or make a difference. And there is a health policy meeting. And this is the third year. This will be the third year. Tell us what you have and what we would love for our audience to come to.
So, well, thanks for having me, Virginia.
Oh, my pleasure.
Yeah, we're very excited. You know, mental health is a big problem nationally, and it's one that maybe hadn't been addressed all that much, kind of swept under the rug in times, and particularly in Alabama, we struggle with it. We're 51st out of 51st in a lot of markers of 51st states, and Washington, D.C. have markers of mental health, and you know, one Alabamian dies by suicide every about 10, 11 hours. So it's a big issue here. So into that, you know, the legislature and the governor and others have been very interested to try and help and to say, what do you do? What can we do to help? And so one of our missions at UAB is to help educate everybody on both health issues and also issues of policy. And so for the third year, we have the health policy meeting here in Montgomery, where we invite leaders from around the state and around the country to come and talk about timely issues. And this year, it's going to be on mental health. So we actually have two events that are coming. One is the health policy meeting itself, which is on April 9th at the RSA Activity Center. It's free to the public. You've got to register so we know who's coming, because we're providing some food, some lunch, and breakfast.
We'll have all that information up on the screen for you.
And it's made possible by the generosity of the Kennemer family and the Western Cardiac Foundation. They've through a very nice grant and other sponsors. And what we're going to have is several talks. There's going to be the Commissioner of Mental Health in the state of Alabama, Kimberly Boswell, will be speaking with our Chief of Psychiatry at the Montgomery campus and our about current state of mental health in Alabama. We have Mr. Fred Vars, who's a University of Alabama law professor, who's worked with many states and is currently working with the Alabama legislature to try and come up with some rational legislation to help with suicide, particularly by gun, but respecting the rights of gun owners. And so with for example, a voluntary do not sell firearm where somebody knows that they have mental illness, feels like that they're going to have some problems, and then what they do is they actually put themselves on a list saying, for now I need a timeout from being able to have a firearm, and then when they get better, they can take themselves off the list.
Okay,
and so that's been passed in about 5 states. And then our keynote speaker is a psychiatrist named Ken Rosenberg, who's from New York City, who's also an NYU graduate filmmaker and produced several films, but one in particular is called Bedlam, which is a documentary about care of psychiatric patients in the United States. It was at Sundance, and it's available on streaming platforms. And he's going to show us some of his new movie and talk about some of these issues. And then as an added bonus, on the 8th, the day before, we're going to screen Bedlam with the filmmaker in present to answer questions and be there at the Capri Theater at about 5:30 in the afternoon on the 8th. So
now, is this open to our audience as well?
Open to everybody.
Okay.
So if you're interested, open to everybody. And again, like I said, the generosity of the Kennemer family and the other sponsors have been really great, and so we're able to put this on.
I just think that we have such an issue with mental health, and it is finally becoming top of the mind. And this is wonderful too. I have to throw this in because I think it's so great. You have been diligent and just persistent in working to get a psychiatry residency at our local Montgomery UAB Medical School, which is a godsend because that we don't have a lot of psychiatrists available.
No, it's a big problem in Alabama and also locally, just the lack of psychiatrists, and so hopefully we'll grow our own and we'll have people train here and do psychiatry residency, and hopefully some of them will stay in our community.
I really do think that, folks. You know, fortunately I've not had it in my own family, but I can tell you that 1 out of 3 friends of mine have had somebody with mental health problems, and we have to do something. And I think being educated is one of the best things you can do. So the health policy meeting is going to inform, identify, educate, and gives a great place for people of like-mindedness who want to make a difference to come together.
Yeah, and I'll also give a forum for some discussion as well.
Yep, and we will have some question and answer, which I think is wonderful. So April the 9th, what time?
We're going to start about 8 a.m. for registration, and then
Okay.
we'll probably be done by about 1 p.m.
Okay, and we have all that information for you. Be sure you do have to RSVP, and
please.
if you do, you know, we're providing food, so please come. And thank you so much for being with us. And Dr. Lambiase,
thank you, Virginia.
thank you for making a difference.
Thank you. Thanks for having
And
me.
you guys can make a difference too, so let's do it. Stay right with us.